So, welcome guys to another episode of China Ready. So in this episode, I actually want to share with you guys some of the main differences in Chinese culture. So, depending on where you're coming from in the world, there are major differences and also major similarities that really drive society over in China. And it's super crucial for us all to really get a good grasp of what the key drivers are, what are the key things that people really care about, and the key reasons why people are motivated to not only start in business, but also similar to you, who are looking to kind of export or look internationally, more specific. Now there's a massive international push that's actually going on in China across many different industries and different sectors. It actually started around the 50s. So in China, they've come in the past 100 years from a point of what they've considered to be a point of weakness and a point of comfort on the international stage, where there was this idea and attitude that actually foreign, so non-Chinese powers have got a vested interest in their country. So obviously during the Cultural Revolution and everything that ensued beyond from the 50s onwards, there's some key individuals within Chinese history and politics that have really defined the development of the country, and obviously having a one-party governing system has allowed them the ability to kind of make decisions and then act on them super quick. So one of the key items that they really focused on was actually they might not be at that point in time the experts at everything, and they might not actually be the world leaders in any one specific thing, but what they decided was actually, if they went out and found these individuals, if they went out to these different countries and found the people who were the best at what they did, and invited them back to China to work on projects together, then actually before long they could not only work together to launch a project or infrastructure, they could actually learn the skills required and keep them within their home turf, keep them within their own knowledge base, so they could develop from that point. This attitude, or this way of development, has really been embedded in so much of what China's been about in the past, especially 20-30 years, with the amount of students that we see actually studying internationally, and the skill sets that they actually bring back to China has only just increased this momentum of growth and development. So when it actually comes to the concept of internationalism, or the concept of working with other countries, a prime example is an initiative that the Chinese government currently look at called One Belt, One Road. Now there is that initiative which comes along with lots of sanctions which they've allowed and funding which they've made available, along with the Asian Infrastructure Bank. Now these two entities are providing the opportunity and the funding for fantastic projects to actually happen. And if you look at along the map of exactly where they're talking about this One Belt, One Road, it spans most of the world, and they are actively going to many different countries and building relationships and having the attitude that we're here to cooperate on this project. We might not see eye to eye in everything that we do, but on this project we can collaborate. So when you're looking at a society that has very much looked internationally for so long, you would expect them to kind of want to trade off themselves for what apparently is the better way of doing things, which actually the opposite's happened. So what you find is, although there's this real international push to look beyond their borders, they've got such pride in their own culture and such pride in actually how they as a nation is put together, and how they as a nation, how they live their lives and what's actually important to them. So another prime example of that is the family hierarchy. So the infrastructure within a family unit, and actually how the different age or generational levels, how they have their own responsibilities and how they have their own expected behaviours. And it's not just within a tight-knit family, but it also spans across a number of different levels. So the ability to plan 2 generations ahead, to work, earn and save for a number of generations, along with the the instilled expectation that the younger will look after the elder, and the money goes down towards the younger, but the activity and sport goes up towards the elder, has such a profound effect on how they run their lives, and how actually is, as within any large community, you've got these clusters and sub-communities that are almost self-dependent. They are independently aware of what they need to be successful, and if there is any requirements for investment, or requirements in purchasing property, or requirements in studying abroad, very often the family unit actually come together to cluster resources to make that happen. So because of this, communities within communities within communities, it can actually be quite difficult to enter that. And obviously, if you don't understand the culture, and especially if you can't speak the language, then it can be really, really difficult to really understand these levels upon levels upon levels. But if you are truly open and honest, and when you go to China, when you start investigating what the opportunities are over there, if you can arrive with an open heart and an open mind, you can start to see all the interactions, and you can start to figure out actually who is the main person in the situation, and who is accountable for what, and who's actually playing a supporting role rather than a lead role, and who is the person that will have the conversation, but actually who is the people who will be implementing what you're discussing. And even on a societal basis, let alone a business basis, you speak to the head of the family or the elder of the family, they will often make decisions that will impact other people within the family. They might not necessarily be the ones doing it, but they will be the guiding wisdom, the figurehead that will actually be responsible for the conversations that dictate the actions of others. So when you are going into China, be very aware that there are multiple levels to which you're going to have to be able to communicate. And as a general rule of thumb, everybody's super polite. Everybody's very interested in learning more and learning about you, conversing, which can be a bit of a double-edged sword sometimes, because you can approach a situation feeling that it's a well-received conversation, and that you basically can't put a foot wrong. But because of how the human interaction is, because of the level of respect there, you will often not know about all the mistakes that you're making until it's too late. So you can trying to navigate the conversation around being polite, communicating what you'd like to communicate, and obviously enjoying the experience where you can, but also knowing where the boundaries are, where your behaviour or your expected behaviour, where that kind of meshes with their expected behaviour. And this is often quite tricky to do, especially if it's the first time you've been there. And as I say, if you haven't spent any time studying the language, really digging into the culture, the human interaction part of China is so crucial. Their entire society is built on human interaction. So again, with any human interaction, you get better with more practice. So getting over to China and actually just spending time with native Chinese people in whichever area you're looking to concentrate on, and just absorbing how they live, and just absorbing the ebbs and flows in their lifestyles, to really pick out what's important to them. So you'll find eating is, and I completely understand why, so much of the food in China is just delicious. But the ritual of eating, and actually the ritual of coming together to eat, and spending real time over it. So breakfast might not be a massive meal, but lunches and dinners for many people are often big events, not just big eating sessions. So if you're working in a company, then often you might go out with colleagues, or if you're leading a company, or maybe in a development role or sales role, the opportunity to meet people for dinner, they might give you 2 hours, 2.5 hours for lunch, where obviously people can chill, they can rest, they can restore their energy ready for the afternoon. But also it's a very good opportunity to start developing links, developing more personal relationships. And it's the exact same in the evening. So once you've finished up at work, obviously work ethic over there is incredible. So they might extend working beyond what us in the UK might think is a good balance. But even at dinner, most people go out and eat, and most people take the opportunity, even for family and friends, to spend time together, to reconnect and to understand what's important and what's changed, and how we're going to navigate the next period of time. And work-wise, it's a great opportunity again to be expanding the network, and it's this real this ability to connect with people and the importance of people, and throughout their personal lives and societal lives, along with professional and business, people are the most important element, and understanding people and understanding how to provide value and to provide respect, and really to actually open yourself up to learning some fantastic lessons from these people. That to me is really where the value is. The self-development side of pursuing China as an opportunity it's blown me away. It's I've spent years. It's coming to what are we now? It's coming to like 11 years since I've been working with China, and the impact on my personal life and the way I think and the way I approach the world has massively been impacted by China, and by the people. The business opportunities that have come from that have been spectacular, and that's been really rewarding. And actually, the programs that I personally am focusing on now, the impact we're able to have on so many people because of that real determination to look beyond their borders. It's been fantastic and really rewarding. So the main things I would like to pass on to you today is understanding that people come first, approaching China with a completely open mind and a completely open heart, getting over there and immersing yourself in how they live their lives. This is a really, really important one. Don't expect to get off the plane and be treated the way that you would want to be treated. You should expect to get off the plane and live the way that they would expect to live. If you can manage to get those three things, then you're doing really, really well. So, thanks so much for picking this up with me. The next episode, I'm really going to concentrate more on kind of business expectations and etiquette, and really how to kind of deliver yourself in a way that people are not just going to be very impressed with, but they're going to lay solid foundations for a really successful relationship. So, catch you guys on the next episode.